All right, good morning, traders. Today is Friday the 13th, okay? It's February 13th, 2026. My name is Coach Kerrigan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody out there, podcast land, digital land, cyberland. Thank you for following, liking, and subscribing to my content. Thank you to a special shout out, John Jordan, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted. Thank you for sharing the content, helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's take a look at the markets today. I got one announcement before I get started, and we take a look at yesterday's performance or price action. So just a reminder, February 16th, that is 3 days from today, okay, the market's going to be closed on Monday, all right? So we got a nice 3-day weekend this weekend. So again, on Monday, markets are closed. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday when we get back, all right? All right, so my SPY pivot this morning, 686. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Diamond Dow made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap under the 17. SPY and IWM, yes, made lower highs, lower lows, closing under bearish crosses and under their 17 EMAs. IWM, we already talked about that. QQQ and FNGU made lower highs and lower lows, closing under bearish traps under their 17 EMAs. SPY closed 2-hour downtrend, 10-minute downtrend. Silver, lower high, lower low, closed under a bearish trap under the 17. Gold, lower high, lower low, closed under a bullish trap under the 17. USO in an uptrend, made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bullish trap under the 17. UNG, higher low, higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17. US dollar index, excuse me, still in a downtrend, closed near 96, 93 area. SPY max pain for today, if they don't change it, 685 with a put to call ratio of about 1.9 puts to each call that expires today at 4:15. Remember, those security options expire at 4. Index options expire at 4:15. All right, so if this is your first time seeing this, okay, these are all in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are all in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they have a star, they're building out a little launch pad or a bull flag from which to launch higher. If they got a little star over here, they're building out a bear flag. I call it a platform from which to dive lower, okay? So some of these already had some breakouts from yesterday. Clorox broke out, if I can remember right. Souls broke out 2 days ago. SLB is currently breaking out. And these guys, these two are setting up for breakouts inside their bull flags there. All right, so let's go take a look at the markets and let's move this down. Max risk for today is 34.51. Trading account value 34.511. So my daily goal today is 345. All right, so let's start with 10-minute chart. All right, and let's pick up a clean one. All right, so here's our 10-minute chart. You can see the 3 and the sticks underneath the falling 8. So 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. I really thought they'd rally it back to 685 in the nighttime. So we'll see what happens this morning. Does that mean we're going lower after CPI comes out? Could be. We'll see. So there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. 10-minute downtrend coming into the close yesterday. You can see the sticks in the 3. That's the thin yellow line underneath the falling 8. So we have a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on the daily chart. Okay, so remember we made a high here. We made a higher high over here. So that put us in an uptrend. We were in a downtrend because we had a low here and we made a lower low. But then we came back and we made a higher high. So now we're currently in an uptrend until they make another lower low. So here's yesterday's candle. Lower high, lower low. Closing under bearish cross under the 17. See the dots? So they turn from green to red here, closing under the 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. So we're still in an uptrend, but obviously we didn't move up yesterday. We're in the middle of quadrant 4, so that's bullish. So we're bullish and in an uptrend on the daily chart for SPY. For the weekly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. Nothing's broken there yet. On the monthly chart, still see all the green dots, still bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly chart. All right, let's take a look at the game plan. We'll hit it up on the 15 and price action. Let's move this over here. Okay, so 686 is my pivot. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green entry. Underneath, 680.35. Green erases red entry. Oh, I hope we get there. I don't think so, though. 693.85. Price above 693.85 is a green erases red entry. All right, on the options that I choose to trade, because I trade options on QQQ and SPY mainly. That's my bread and butter right there, trading those. I trade 7 DTE and 14 DTE Friday options on the multiple of 5 specifically for the open interest. Now, 0 DTEs tend to have a lot of open interest as well as a lot of volume, so I also trade those as well. I like strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. Hey, again, I'm not opposed to trading in the money, all right? I just don't, because I have a limited amount of risk that that's available for me to use. So my max risk is only 10%, all right? So I only have 3,451, all right, for me to use when I buy my options. So for that, I can't really afford the in-the-money options because they are more expensive than the out-of-the-money options. All right, so for that reason, I don't get the price action that an in-the-money option gets. Keep in mind that on the in-the-money option, you're going to get much better performance, all right, with that. But with that performance, it's going to cost you more to purchase that. So I choose the out-of-the-money options instead. All right, I like that. I have less risk on the table, and it's easier for me. I can get a few more of the out-of-the-money because they're cheaper, and that allows me to spread out my net or do a shotgun approach as far as entering and exiting. In other words, I don't have like 1 or 2 contracts to trade. Instead, I've got several which I can stagger in the area of where I expect to take profit. And so that works out better for me, all right? All right, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. You guys know the drill, all right? If there's a 10-minute downtrend that happens to manifest up here over the green line or over the yellow line, doesn't mean I can't take it because it's not the red erases green. I just like to see it break the 10-minute bearish rubber band candle. Same thing with the uptrends that happen to manifest, excuse me, under the red line or under the gold line here. Okay, so again, doesn't mean I can't take it. I just like to see them break the bullish rubber band candle. All right, so there's the SPY game plan. QQQ's got a game plan as well. Let's take a peek at that. Green erases red over 614.05. SPY pivot, QQQ pivot 605.05. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green. Underneath 599.55. Again, same options. I like the Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest, all right? I like a lot of liquidity. I want to get in and out. I want a very tight bid-ask spread. I don't want a lot of slippage if I have to get stopped out. All right, same thing. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. So we got green erases red over 614.05. Again, red erases green under 599.55. All right, let's take a look at the 10-minute. We'll go to another chart. 10-minute downtrend. You can see right here we got the sticks and the 3 are plotting underneath the 8 EMA. So 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. 2 hour, we got the sticks and the 3 plotting underneath the falling 8. So we have a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, okay, so we got a low here. We made a lower low. We're in a downtrend still. We have not made a higher high in the QQQ. So yesterday's candle, you can see lower high, lower low, closing underneath. See the yellow line plotting underneath the falling 8. Okay, so closing underneath a bearish trap. All right, plotting in the middle of quadrant 4. So that's bullish, but in a downtrend there on QQQ. All right, weekly chart for Qs, still bullish. See all the green dots and in an uptrend. Nothing's broken. We haven't made any lower lows yet. Monthly chart, see all the green dots. Still top of quadrant 4, still bullish and in an uptrend right there. On the monthly chart, okay, haven't made any lower lows yet. That's QQQ. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. We'll look at that on the daily chart. Remember 3 days ago, Diamond Dow printed new all-time highs. Yesterday's candle, same, much like the QQQ and the SPY, lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap and under the flat 17, top of quadrant 4, still in an uptrend. They haven't made any lower lows. So you can see in the middle of quadrant 4, that's bullish, still in an uptrend there on Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at IWM. Again, another candle just like the others. Lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish cross, underneath the flat 17, underneath the pink line. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, in the middle of quadrant 4, still bullish, still in an uptrend right there on IWM. Stinker, same thing. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. And we'll look at Stinker with the big quad lines. Stinker's hitting the 618, okay, as far as Fibonacci retracements go. Here's the 618. Stinker's right in there, right on top of the 618. This green line just under the 618 represents support, all right? So that would be, if they get below this green line, it's going to be bearish, all right? If you take the quad lines, let's just say we move them over and include that. So you can see right there, this would be the lower third. So if they get below this, that's going to be bearish. Right now, they're neutral because they're not in the upper third. They're not in the lower third. And in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. That's Stinker for you. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. Look at that on the daily chart. Silver, gold. Let's turn this off. Okay, we've got a lower high, lower low, closing underneath. See the sticks in the 3, plotting underneath the falling 8. All right, closing underneath a bearish trap. See the dots here? That's the 17 EMA, closing underneath the 17 EMA. Okay, we're not in the upper third. Didn't close up there. So we're neutral. All right, and we got a low. We made a lower low and in a downtrend. Okay, on silver. Let's take a look at gold. All right, so for gold, we've got a lower high and a lower low. We closed underneath a bullish trap. We closed underneath the flat 17. We'll pan way out. We're still in the middle. Okay, this is quadrant 1 of quadrant 4, way up here. So we're still bullish and still in an uptrend. We haven't made a lower low yet. So gold, still bullish, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at USO. USO's in an uptrend. Maybe not. No, not yet. Not yet. Still in an uptrend. Okay, USO, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bullish trap. Over the rising 17. Still up in the upper third, so that's bullish. And still in an uptrend. All right, I like the consolidation. It's very sloppy, but I do like the fact that they're able to finally hold up in the upper third area. Okay, that's nice. All right, there's USO on the daily chart. UNG. Okay, I got a pan way out. First, we'll take a peek right here. Higher low, higher high. Closing inside. See the sticks and the 3 are plotting underneath, the 3 EMA underneath the falling 8 here. All right, so they're down here. So they closed inside a bearish trap. Okay, so we got a low, we made a lower low, so we're in a downtrend right there. So downtrend there. Now I'm going to zoom way out. Okay, this is the 2025 12-month high anchored VWAP. All right, so this would be quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, in the upper third, you'd be bullish. In the lower third, you're going to be bearish. They're down here still in the lower third. Now, they did break out, but they couldn't hold the higher ground. Okay, so they're bearish and in a downtrend down here in the middle of quadrant 1 yet again. That's UNG. All right. Let's take a look at technicals, T2101. Market moved down for the most part yesterday. Participation went from an increase to a decrease. So that's a good sign that the market's not interested in tanking the market, okay, even though it is pulling back. So that's T2101. So I like that. T2122 kind of pictured us making a higher low. We did not. We made a lower low. So we're down here camping out in the seller's chop zone. I had much different vision, sugar plums and whatnot, up here in the buy zone and the overbought zone. Okay, didn't get it. All right, and that happens a lot for me. All right, I had envisioned to be up there, but that's the way it is sometimes. So we're down here in the seller's chop zone. It's not bad, but we did make, here's a low, there's a low, there's a couple of lows, a lower low, okay, and a lower high. All right, so that's T2122. Okay, so the momentum has kind of turned, all right, bearish, whereas it was before. Higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher highs. That was bullish. Then we made this equal low or just a little bit lower high right there. Okay, equal high. All right, so kind of flipping over here. So we'll see what happens. Maybe the bulls will come in and rescue us today. We'll find out. All right, so there's T2122. As far as the midfield goes, we're on the bears side of the midfield or the half court, whatever you want to call it. All right, so we're on the bearish side of the gridiron here on T2122. T2123, check this out. New all-time high on the 15-minute chart. All right, so on the 15, they've got a high. There's a low right here. They made a lower low, so they're in a 15-minute downtrend. They are plotting up over the rising 200. That's very bullish up there. You can see we had a bullish gap up, and the bears took control of the price action and filled the gap, and they went and filled the gap from the previous day as well. So, okay, so of course we've got a new all-time high, but we also filled some bearish gaps, some bullish gaps here today. So bears took control of the ball, okay? Hopefully they fumble. All right, so there's T2123, 15-minute chart. Again, in a downtrend, but making a new all-time high and still plotting up over the rising 200 SMA. All right, let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. New all-time high. It's the same product, okay? And you can see here's the April low. This is the origin of the market rally up to an all-time high, then a pullback to a higher low that then produces another new all-time high. That's what we made yesterday. Okay, up over the flat 200 SMA. Clearly at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend. They haven't taken out any lows. Okay, on stinker on the 15, Let's take a peek at this. All right, so a move down and over to the right. So another bear flag for Stinker. Stinker's on the 618 right here. So no signs of it turning yet. So obviously they want to go touch base with support before turning. Okay, you can see Stinker makes, there's a low, a lower low. So obviously it's in a downtrend. You can see here's the falling 200 SMA. That would be bearish, plotting underneath the falling 200 SMA. That's bearish. You can see here's the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Okay, so things not looking too bright for Stinker. Okay, and let's pan out just a little bit. I'm going to move this over and see if I can't scrunch it up. I don't think I can. All right, let's take quad lines. All right, just so you know, we're at the bottom of quadrant 1. If we take this high and this low, I think that's all I can fit on my chart. Yeah, that's all they're going to let me put on there right now. So, all right, so bottom of quadrant 1, so we're bearish and in a downtrend on the 15-minute chart. On the daily chart for Stinker, it's neutral and in a downtrend. Okay, so there we go with that. All right, let's take a look at U.S. dollar index. Going to pan way out. This is our 2025 high. Okay, we go into a downtrend, obviously, with a series of lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows. And then we produce a 7-month bear flag here where the bulls try to break out of the bear flag, but very unsuccessful. You can see once there, double top there, right there. So you can see price, there's a high, there's a lower high, there's a low, there's a lower low, and then there's another lower low. All right, so we linger here too long, and I think maybe we could see more selling. Hopefully we do. We'll see what happens. So there's the U.S. dollar index. Let's take a look at the market the economic package this morning. Let's start off with Max Payne. Let me refresh this. We've got CPI coming out in 8 minutes. All right, it says so far today it says 685 is the Max Payne number. And we got 1.9 puts for each call for the options in the SPY that expired today. So a little bit of a put squeeze on the table. We'll see what they want to do. 685. Max Payne. I like it that the put squeeze is on the table and the Max Payne is 685. So it kind of supports price going higher right out of the gate. If Max Payne is 685, we're below it. So I would picture price to move back towards it and produce that Max Payne. Same with the put to call ratio. All right. If do a little put squeeze as we move back towards 685 as well. So they get, it would be like a double whammy for the market maker to get it ramped up and jack it up towards 685 first thing in the morning. So I kind of have a bullish bias based on the options that are lingering, all right, in the open interest column. All right, you can see 685, we're below it. So wouldn't it behoove the market maker to rip it? All right, same with the put to call ratio. If we could charge get a short squeeze going and easily get us back up to a spot near 685. So looking to be bullish this morning. We'll see right out of the gate. Let's go take a look at the markets right after I look at earnings. All right, earnings for today, 112 billion. I think that's Enbridge. I think that's Solar. Anyways, a lot of familiar names. Nothing here that's going to move the markets today. All right, on the economic calendar, big time main event, CPI, the delayed report, coming out in 6 minutes at 8:30. All right, so again, I'm picturing price to move up first thing this morning, or eventually consolidate and then move up. We'll see what happens, all right, based on Max Payne. Unless, of course, that changes, which it could. Let's just do it one more time. No, I don't want the safety switch. Let's try it one more time. Make sure it's still 685. And we still got almost 2 puts for each call. All right, so that helps that put squeeze there. That would be nice to see. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's go back to the markets. Let's look at SPY in the pre-market. Okay, there's a big green engulfing candle on the 15. All right, you get some follow through with that. Could be coming here. Remember, in about 5 minutes, they're going to report CPI. We could see ourselves all the way back towards the pivot. We'll find out, all right? It all depends on what the market feels like doing. I got a strong hunch we're coming back here. We'll see what happens, all right? Based on what I'm looking at, this would be a bearish bias. Consolidation under prior consolidation. This would be a bearish bias. But right now, I think things are about to change here in 4 minutes, all right? I do envision us back here near the pivot at 686. We'll see what happens because that is Max Payne. All right, so we'll see what happens here. It's anybody's game when the CPI comes out. The Bulls, it's a coin flip. Could be the Bulls, could be the Bears. Same thing when it comes to earnings. All right, it's a coin flip. You can't tell what they're going to do. I mean, they could be fantastic sometimes, but because they hit their new all-time high a week before earnings, they could be in the midst of a continuation to the sell-off. Who knows what happens, all right? So we'll see what happens here in about 3 minutes, all right? Thank you, traders. I will be back in 45 minutes. Okay, looking at that big green candle engulfing all of this consolidation. You get some follow through on that. All right, and you got a possible reversal ensuing. So we'll see what happens.